Derek Giwner back in the DRF Harness Studios along with Matt Rose, and we're here to talk about Scioto Downs for Saturday, September the 8th. They have a great card. 8 $275,000 Ohio Sire Stakes Championships. Also the $250,000 Jim Ewart Memorial for the older pacers. It's a strong card, starts at 6:30. We're going to have all the action live on DRF Harness Live. Garnett Barnsdale will be doing real-time analysis and insights throughout the card. There's a $10,000 guaranteed pick 8 wager, which is always kind of nice. I think they offer for like a dime or something like that.
It might be like 20 cents or something like that. I know they've done it in years past with the 8 Sire Stakes finals in Ohio. It's been reasonably well received, which is why I assume they've guaranteed it again this year and probably surpassed that guarantee. Interesting play for a pick 8.
Yeah, and they also have a guaranteed pick 4 on the card. It starts in race 6. It's $7,500 guaranteed, and that's what we're going to look at here. And then we're going to look at the Ewart Memorial at the end. It starts in race number 6, 3-year-old filly pacers for $275,000. 9 of them on the gate, and Matt likes.
Matt's going to go Matt's not going to handicap this race all that much except to look at trainer angles. We got trainer Brian Brown with 3 horses in here. 3 uncoupled entries. They all look pretty good, pretty live on paper. Obviously, this barn has done great things this year and in years past, and specifically it's the 2 Smiley Dragon, the 4 McPansy, and the 5 Present Pretty Imperfect, if I'm saying that right, because that's a lot of characters stuck into one horse name with no spaces. Again, we have the listed driver is Dave Miller on McPansy. Obviously, Dave Miller, the Buckeye, no stranger to any racing in Ohio. Sharp effort tuning up just last week. I think it's good that he has a race in. All 3 of these horses have a race in recently. Listen, I mean, it's an open affair, but I'm going to stick with one of these 3 horses, and I think I'll be able to squeak by in this leg.
At least on paper, I really don't see this as a wide open affair, although I'm going to go pretty deep in here, and I'm going to explain why. I think the 7 Present Pretty Imperfect is by far the best horse. Mm-hmm. The problem is she has absolutely no gate speed. She's never been on the lead at the quarter in her career. The 5 and the 6 are leaving inside of her, which means she's got to pass too many, and which is if she had the inside here, if she had post 3 or 4, she'd be my single here. Okay. From the outside post, I think it makes it a little bit tough. That's why I went pretty deep here. 3, 4, 6, and 7, as you can see up there. The 6 has some interesting speed. I think is a nice spot. The 3K again was actually really good. If you go back, a month or so ago, it was excellent, and then just falling on hard times. Maybe she can get back to that. The 4 you mentioned, Brian Brown horse, certainly has a shot in here.
And this Brian Brown, Dave Miller. I'm not letting Dave Miller really beat me.
And the 6 is Ron Burke, and that one's going to be aggressively leaving the gate.
She could beat me, but so be it.
I go 3, 4, 6, 7 in there. We're going to move on to race number 7, and for me in race number 7. I actually think that you can legitimately probably single the 3 Looking Vizelda, but I went too deep in this race, adding another horse in. What'd you do, Matt?
I used Looking for Zelda. I went 3 deep, Looking for Zelda, Sesame for basically the the trainer-driver connections. Chris Beaver, who's always a player on the Ohio circuit, Dave Miller. 7 Non-Smoker has been pretty consistent this year, added Lasix last week in an overnight event, tuning up nicely for this. So I went 3 deep in... what we've seen in years past is these races, there might be a stand on paper, it looks easy, and then all of a sudden there's a $20 horse that wins, and you say, geez, I could have come up with that. So that's why I'm kind of spreading around here. Looking for Zelda, yes, obviously logical. Sesame with the trotting hobbles has been pretty solid, smooth gated, and Non-Smoker, second time Lasix. They're all sharp coming into this race, and they're all in good spots. They can all trip out, and again, we'll go 3 deep here. I don't see any. I can't narrow it down any more than that.
As I mentioned, my ticket is Looking Vizelda. I think she's far and away the one to beat in this 3-year-old trotting filly final. I threw in the 7 Non-Smoker. I was intrigued by the fact that she had Lasix last time, and she raced really well with Lasix. I spoke to trainer-driver Dan Noble, and he made it seem like she's kind of on and off. He never knows what to expect, but she's had a pretty good week, and he's hoping that she continues to do so. We'll move on to race number 8. It's the Trotting Colts final for $275,000. It's an interesting race. I mean, there's a heavy favorite on the morning line at 9-5, and the 5 to Obi-Wan Kenobi. I don't know if that's where you went. Is the force with you?
Listen, I don't look at names at all. I kind of just smile and when I see strange names or names that I don't factor names that are in that people.
But sometimes bad names don't race well.
Bad names don't race well. At first glance, oh God, it's a bad name, but obviously it's a play on what people are very familiar with out in the entertainment world. I went 3 deep again here. I used who will likely be the favorite, 2 Obi-Wan Kenobi. I also used the 2 MVP Luke. Just a good inside post. Could trip out here. Only 2 for 16 on the season, but it's been right there in his last 4 races. I also threw in the 7 Mission Accepted. This horse was supposed to be good, I think. Ran a big race in the Beal and Pocono. Took a lot of money in the Beal final against horses that we saw come back in a Hamiltonian. You want to talk about a horse falling on hard times? I don't know what the heck happened to him, but if he can revert to any sort of his last year's or this year's form, it wouldn't shock me if he was able to step up and be in the number here. So I'm going to throw him in just in case. But 3 deep, 2, 5, and 7.
I went a little bit wider. Obviously, 2 Obi-Wan Kenobis on my ticket, though. I got to say, I can't see him getting a 57.5 and then getting to sprint the 27 third quarter and just saying, see you later this field. Not with 275,000 on the line. Mission Accepted, I threw on my ticket as you did because, quite frankly, we know, he's probably the best horse if he shows up. Mm-hmm. Who knows if he will. Get the Cash is similar in the fact that if you look back, a month and a half ago, this horse was great, winning every single week, and then I don't know what happened recently. Maybe they get the horse ready for this final here. Yeah. The 4 Uncle Buck, what, Uncle Buck's that kind of solid horse. Every single week is right there, and then one week is just going to get the right trip and he's going to surge by it and pay like $20. So I threw him on there, and also
there's another name play right there.
Uncle Buck is another entertainment one. And the number 8 Sandcash, it's Ron Burke this was coming off best effort of his career basically, or at least this year. And it was going to be pushing forward off the gate from post 8, regardless of the fact that the bad post. So I went 5 deep in here, but I'm going to make up for it in the next leg, which is race number 9, Ohio Sire Stakes final for 3-year-old Colt Pacers. And there's a standout on the page in Lather Up.
A standout who I'm not keying in my ticket either. Obviously, most people out there are going to have this horse key. He's going to be odds on, heavy favorite. We've seen this horse all year. We know how good he is. We know how capable he is. I know he's the best horse in this race. I've just, I see this horse race and it's like I hold my breath every step of the race because it always looks like something's going to happen. And it did happen a couple of times in a couple of his starts. I'm going to throw in the 4 Bounding Dragon. When Lather Up was in Scioto last month on August 4th, we saw him get basically abused by Bounding Dragon. Dan Noble drove very, very aggressively, and dug in there and finally had to give way to Lather Up and then held very well to be second best. If anyone's going to defeat Lather Up, I guess if Lather Up has to defeat himself. If Lather Up defeats himself, it looks like Bounding Dragon's the horse that's going to pick up the pieces. So you know what? I'll double my ticket price and I'll throw Bounding Dragon on there. Maybe throw an extra play with keying Lather Up, but I'm going to take a shot and maybe look for some value. And if Lather Up is his own worst enemy, Bounding Dragon will be right there to pick up the pieces.
Well, I went and I keyed Lather Up. To me, it's the way I look at this is if Lather Up shows up, he's going to win the race. And if I believe that Lather Up's not going to show up, then I don't think he should be on my ticket at all. And I should have just keyed the 4 Bounding Dragon because he's clearly second best on paper. So I believe Lather Up will show up, so I'm just going to key him. That's just the way I see it. Whether or not Bounding Dragon could take him, I don't know. I felt like he gave it his best shot last time, and he couldn't take him down. Lather Up's the better horse of the 2 as far as I could see, so I'm going to key him, and you can see my ticket up there is a $20 play. Yours was a little bit more expensive.
27. It's only for 50-cent base wager, $27, but still reasonably manageable in a pool that should easily be 5 figures.
Let's move on to race number 12. It's while it's not the most expensive race on the card, it's $250,000. It's kind of the feature. It's a Grand Circuit event, the Jim Ewart Memorial for the older paces, full field of 10. Post number 10, Nuclear Design, will start from the 2nd tier. And the morning line favorite at 3-1 is McWicked. I'm certain it's going to be a little bit lower. Let's take a look at McWicked upsetting Lazarus last week.
Yeah, Lazarus once again got it pretty much in his own way, and McWicked, who I liked and endorsed last week, figured he'd be in a better spot, and
we were both on him.
We were both on, you know what, a very, very generous price, and you could see Yannick's all out with Lazarus, and Dave Miller's sitting pretty chilly here and just letting McWicked do what he needs to do, and that's just a strong, impressive effort. And you know what, he's right back in this week. I don't see any reason to jump off the bandwagon. Obviously, you're not getting 7-2. You're going to get 3-1 morning line, maybe 1-3 come post time. But I don't see any reason to jump off the bandwagon, especially from this spot. Dave Miller's back driving again. He can probably, there's no reason why he can't grind from this spot and get by maybe some suspect speed types in here and do exactly what he did last week. So I'm on board with him at a short price, but what the heck.
We were talking mostly about McWicked there, but if you want to rewind the video and go back and look, you could see the one horse in that race was Split the House, and he was splitting in between horses late, coming pretty strong. He's been doing that week after week. If you look, despite some good trips, some not so good trips, every single week he's right there, and I think this is a good spot to take a shot with Split the House. I think there's a good amount of early speed there. Western Joe is certainly a speed horse from the inside. Dr. J. Hanover, Filibuster Hanover is leaving. And what's interesting is number 10, Nuclear Dragon. I mentioned earlier I spoke to Dan Noble. He made it pretty clear that this horse has to be on the lead. Like he wants no part of any place but the lead. And starting from the second tier, that means he's going to have to settle in and come charging. And that's going to set up a pretty nice pace here, the way I look at it.
He's a nice horse, and you can see he's in career form. I can't use him against all these better, more established horses, especially him starting from the second tier.
I'm not asking you to pick him on top. I'm just saying that I got the impression that he's going to be part of this pace scenario here, and he's going to push this pace a little bit.
If he gets away cleanly, yeah.
And I don't know. If something tells me this is a good spot for Split the House, and that he's got a shot here, and we know he's going to be a good price. He should be in the 6-1, 8-1 range, I would say, in this field.
He's proven he's capable, and let's say McWick is out and grinding like he did last week. Split the House should be somewhere in the flow behind him. Listen, I'm going to stick with McWick. I will give out an ice cold exacta, try to get some value. Dr. J. Hanover, yes, he can cave in on the front end with no excuse, but he's also, I like last week's effort where he had no chance. He was 1,000,000 to 1 from the outside, came home 25-4 in that Woodbine Mohawk Park race, showing some versatility, having late pace. He should be set up nicely here. Maybe he's on the lead and gets run over by McWicked, but can last for a second. But I'll try a cold exacta with Dr. J. Hanover. I just think it's a good spot from a relatively inside post.
Okay, race 12 at Scioto, the Jim Ewart Memorial. Matt's going McChalky with McWicked, number 2. I'm going with number 6, Split the House, looking for a little bit better price. All the action starts at 6:30. It's a great card, like we said, 8 Sire Stakes finals. Some nice guaranteed wagers in the pick 8 and the pick 4. We'll have all the action live on DRF Harness Live. Check it out. Good luck.